Okay, we have some cleanup to do here. When I put in values, and I have a shipping method that's not free, I get a crazy number. So we're going to need to fix that. And also, this number is not really formatted the way we'd like it to be. So as you can see, the HTML5 placeholder on this field shows that there's a $sign and some cents. We don't have any of that right now. So let's fix these problems. I'm going to scroll up to where we collect these values. Now, when these come in, they are strings. JavaScript knows that they're strings. So that's wreaking havoc with some of these statements down here that use the plus operator, which does different things on strings than it does to numbers. So to make sure that these come in as numbers and JavaScript understands that this variable should be a number, we can use a built-in function called parseInt. It looks like this. So I wrap this whole thing in that function, and now I'll get back a number. So just to show you how this works, I'm going to switch back over to the browser, and we'll use parseInt, and I'll pass in a string with 10 inside. You can see I get back 10. Now this is different from a string with 10 inside it. So one thing that it's considered a good practice to do when you're working with parseInt, because we're working in base 10, we should include an argument that is 10, just to make sure that we know exactly what we're doing here. And moreover, there's one more situation we need to take care of. If all these fields are empty, this might work, but what is returned is an empty string, and what we'd really like is for it to be 0. So we can use a little syntactical trick here. There's an operator in JavaScript called alternation. And this is used for situations where you want to say, do this or this. So in this case, I want to make sure that when I get these values back, if there's nothing in there, I want to make absolutely certain that it's 0 and not the JavaScript, not a number, global, or something crazy like that. So I'm going to use the alternation to say either give me this if it turns out to be a real thing, or set this value to 0. I could spell this out like this. Like set the value and then somewhere down here go if bottle extra is not a number. Set it to 0. But that's a lot of extra work. And we're writing code, so we're going to be lazy. So I'm going to add this parseInt to all of these fields that are supposed to be numbers, including all the rest of it here. Like that. So each of these now will be a number. And that might be enough to fix my crazy shipping problem. So I'll save this, switch back over here, and reload. So let's go with one bottle of each of these. Change the shipping method and estimate the total. Okay, that looks a little more reasonable. And the number goes up appropriately when I change the shipping method. Okay, so we've dealt with the math problem. Now let's deal with this formatting issue. So here is my estimate. And I'm going to use a similar method to change this to a fixed precision number. That is a number with a number of decimal points that I have fixed. So I'm going to take this whole total expression here and wrap it in parentheses so it's all grouped up nice. And then once that's evaluated, I can use a method called toFixed. This is part of the number global object. Every number in JavaScript inherits a bunch of methods. And so I just need to say how many decimal places I want. In this case, 2. Now I'll save this. Come back over here and reload. Set some values. And estimate the total. Hey, looks good. The only thing missing is a $sign. And so now I can add that on to the front here. I'll just use this as a string and concatenate onto that this number. And JavaScript will automatically convert that into a string for me. So save one more time and reload. Set values. Do all this. Estimate the total, and there we go. I have a nicely formatted number in my text field. So now we've dealt with some of the problems of possibly unpredictable input. Something I should also mention, anytime you're dealing with data that the user can input, you should be prepared to sanitize it in this way. That's what it's called, sanitizing, when you take data from somewhere on the web and you make sure that it fits your requirements. Because somebody could type anything they want in here. It could be a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't have to be a number. There's nothing stopping them from typing garbage in there. And if your code assumes a certain data format without making sure that it's in the right format, you could run into problems. We've seen a minor version of that here, but you could get really crazy problems. So make sure that anything that you're actually calculating is in a format that you expect. And so now we've dealt with a couple issues of data not necessarily being in the format that we wanted, whether it was the wrong type or it just, looked really weird.